Hey guys, my name is Mitch Dyer. This is Elena Yee. We are at GDC 2015 at Valve's booth, where we just played a bunch of different Steam games using Valve's new controller.
Well, it's like their final controller.
The final controller.
Yeah, the design's final now. The one that we saw, they said that some of maybe the plastic might change, so maybe shinier, maybe not shinier, but the actual design,
the way
is actually done.
So what do you think of the new design? They took out the bottom left D-pad, replaced it with an analog stick. How do you feel about that?
I like that. I actually wasn't sure how I was going to feel about the controller. Really haven't had much hands-on time with it previously.
This is my first time.
But like the left side of the controller feels really natural. If you're used to like console gaming, I felt like that was fine, even without like the actual analog stick for the actual directional movement at the top.
Yeah.
That was nice. The right-hand side though, I feel like it's kind of like a very divisive sort of thing.
Yeah,
right?
you and I have different
We have very different opinions on this.
So for me, I feel like that the right trackpad, they refer to it like, think of it like a trackball where you can flip it and the camera will just keep going. And that's totally true. It feels a lot like a mouse. It feels like if you were to just take a trackball or your mouse and move it very rapidly, you can kind of like jitter your camera all over the place. You can make very rapid movements.
Right. Absolutely, I agree with that.
I wanted to increase the sensitivity though, because it felt like using a mouse on a very small mouse pad. Like I just didn't have enough room to make bigger sweeping movements, which could be a problem in something like Unreal Tournament, the new shooter which we played. It was fine in something like Shadow of Mordor, where you don't need like very precise camera movements. You can just kind of like flip it to the left and you're like, all right, I now have a field of view to my left.
It's interesting you said that you wanted to increase the sensitivity, because for me, I actually wanted to do the opposite. Back in the day, like I was never able to just go from like Doom to Quake, because everyone kind of switched to that whole like mouse keyboard thing. It was like super twitchy, and I just wanted to vomit all over the place. And so playing with the Steam controller actually gave me that same feeling again, because it was so sensitive.
Well, I tried to hand you the controller for Unreal Tournament and you're like, no.
I'm going to puke all over this room. It's not good. So for me, I actually wanted to decrease the sensitivity some. But beyond that, I wasn't actually super happy with the placement of where all the face buttons were.
The A, B, X, Y.
Yeah, because like moving my thumb down was kind of awkward. I don't know if you had the same issue with it.
Basically, if you're unfamiliar with the Steam controller right now, it's in the bottom right of the controller. Think of it like the Xbox 360's right thumbstick. That's where the A, B, X, Y face buttons are. And if you're using the right thumbstick or the right trackpad to kind of control the camera, it's weird to take your thumb off of that and move it down to reach for these buttons that are a little bit smaller than I would like. I mean, obviously they work fine. I was able to play Shadow of Mordor and like counter things very effectively and enjoy the combat, but I kept hitting the wrong buttons. I kept trying to counter, and I would hit B, and I would hit a button and I would roll when I meant to attack. So it's something that will probably just take a little bit of getting used to, but even with my long gangly fingers, I still felt like I was just like not quite able to traverse that controller.
I think for me, I think learning it will help, but like my hands aren't as large as yours. And it kind of actually reminded me of the same experience I had when I was using the Duke controller on the original Xbox.
Yeah, like OG Xbox
where
Beast.
It's like beefy. Yeah. And I never really kind of acclimated to that. So I mean, I could get by, but not like my personal favorite.
So you and I are primarily console gamers. We play a lot of games on Xbox. I play a lot of games on PC, but like I love a controller. I just love the tactile feel of like thumbsticks and pressing a button to make something happen. But with this, do you think that you will want to sit in your living room with a Steam controller and play PC games using the controller?
I have super strong preferences. I think I would give it a try for a good long while, just to make sure it's not me being fussy about, like, I don't want to do that, because it's different, right? But I think, in the end, I probably would just go back to my tried and true, the Xbox 360 controller.
Yeah, and I think it might even depend on the kinds of games that are available. Like, obviously, you can play Shadow of Mordor on PC, and you can play it on console, and you can take your pick. If you want like the better visuals, you play it on PC, but something like that feels a lot better to me than a shooter. I wasn't super feeling Unreal Tournament using a controller. The twitchiness didn't feel right. And obviously, you can customize every button on the controller. Every single instance of an interaction can be totally changed. You can change everything.
They did show us that menu.
Yeah. So that's our thoughts on the new near final, design finalized Steam controller. For more on everything Valve, including VR, Steam controller, all that good stuff, stay tuned to IGN.